I'm joined by a special guest today. This is Molly. She wants to join in on the conversation today. So say hello to Molly. Hi everybody, thanks for looking in. I'm Mac from the Mac Attack. Thanks for taking the time to look in. The message I'm going to share with you today, some of you might not like, I'm really sorry. But it might be a bit of a wake-up call, you might say. Not just for some of you out there, but for myself also. So I feel it's an important message to share with you. So please take the time to look in and let me know what you think about what's going on in the world right now. Where we're going as free nations, as free people, and how the globalist agendas are knocking right on our doors right now at this moment in time. And it's something that affects us all. Don't forget to subscribe. You all might be thinking, what a strange title that I've chosen. While we were sleeping, along came a thief. Yeah, it does seem quite strange. Well, I've got to tell you, I've always been a little bit strange myself in a nice kind of way. A bit of an enigma, some people might call me. So it's a fitting that I choose titles like this for my videos. We all know something's not quite right, don't we? Something's not quite, we can't put our finger on it. Or perhaps you can, I don't know. Let me know what you think. What your thoughts are, I'd really appreciate it. Something in our lives is not right. Something's broken. Something's not quite real. In fact, everything doesn't seem quite real at the moment. It's all crooked, upside down, shaken. Whatever you want to call it. So while we were sleeping, here comes the title, along came a thief. It's an enemy, not from an invading army like the Russians who are invading the poor Ukrainian people right now, or a masked robber who breaks into your home, steals your stuff, then murders your family, God forbid. No, it's even more sinister than that, I believe. It's a thief of a more subtle kind. The thief sneaked right up upon us and stole our freedoms, our hearts, our minds, our speech. And the last thing the thief wants to come and steal from you is your hope. Because once your hope is gone, then we're done for, aren't we? In fact, everything that you hold dear in your life is under attack right now, this minute, as we speak. And make no mistake about it, the thief is coming to your door. What you see happening in the UK and in the USA is all pre-planned and for a purpose. In fact, the thief has already been at work for many years, many years, to bring about the globalist agendas that many have been some have been talking about over the years. But we're being caught in a trap. We're being caught sleeping. So we need to lift up our heads from under the covers to see what's being done to each and every one of us, to our families, our communities. We're going to come out from under those covers, folks. Are we going to wake up? Because while we were sleeping, the world has changed around us. And it's not for the better, is it? And the global agendas are in full flow without any hindrance whatsoever. Not from anyone, except a few dissenting voices who might blast off now and then, idiots like me. Anyone who gets in their way will be deemed as enemies of the state, and they will set out to destroy your life. And if you let them, they will succeed, subjugating humanity into servitude to a few self-appointed, self-professed, enlightened ones who claim to know what's best for humanity is what it's all about. So while we were sleeping, everything, and I mean everything, that you planned for, your future, the future of your children, your future life, all the good things you planned for in your life, has all been stolen from you. And everything you expected to do and achieve will be taken from us. It all sounds drastic, but this is what's happening right now. Life will never be the same. Because, why? Because we allowed it to happen. I'm sorry to say. And this is why I said before, you might not like this message. But because I care about you, I'm going to say it anyway. Folks, we've all been caught taking our eyes off what's going on in society, ignoring those that have been sounding out the warnings. And yet we vote for the same things over and over and over again. And this is what's even more troubling to me. And now we're giving them the permission to do whatever they like. It's incredible. We've become so weak to do or say anything. No inner strength or power, or verbal strength or power, or mental strength or power to do anything. We're powerless. We've given them permission to come to our doors and rob us of the very lives that we were hoping for, that we were dreaming of. Of course, I'm talking metaphorically, to strip us of everything, to leave us in a robotic-like state, void of ideas, thoughts, expressions, opinions, educated, awakened minds, capable of critical thinking. They don't like that kind of talk. They don't want to hear it. Because they don't want you like that. And they don't allow it any longer. And it's because we let them. What they want are obedient, subservient workforces, consumers, not citizens, not free citizens. Here's my little dog. She wants to join in. Come here. Here she's here. Here she's here, Miss Molly. Come here then. Come here. And it's almost upon us, most of us will have no fight left in us. Not like this little dog. She's got plenty of fight left in her. And she's got, all over her face. We'll have no power left in us to see off these enemies of the people. No words of defiance to say anything. What they want to do against you and your families. Against all of us. Look, lads and lasses. Do you feel powerless? Do you feel speechless at the moment? Yeah, because they're winning the battle. They're winning. And they've done it very subtly and slyly. To prove the point about what I've just been talking about with you, all you have to do is see what's happening in society right now. Around us, in both the US of A and the United Kingdom. I don't know about the rest of the world. I'm talking about us. And how everything is being dismantled in our lives. Yeah? Millions are on the breadline. Many unable to pay their bills. Put food on the table. Fill up the cars. Inflation outstripping the wages. Even Molly agrees. Many can't keep up with it any longer. But we just accept it. We've just accepted it all. The fuel price rises. We just accept it and carry on filling our tanks up as if it's nothing. But we keep voting for the same thing. Where are the protests against these things? The strikes, the defiance, the standing up against tyranny. It ain't there because we've allowed it to happen. We've allowed them to come to our door. We've allowed the thief into our house. The people have lost the will, the desire, the fight in them, the unction. Do you remember that when you used to have unction and fight to stand up and speak against things? Nobody has it anymore. Can't you see how they've been conditioning us to accept literally anything? Whatever they decide to do, whatever they want to convince you of, whatever plans, agendas, their environmental agenda, the global agenda, social agendas, it'll all be accepted. And what I've just said before, what is more troubling than any of it all, whatever they do, I don't give a shit, is because you're letting it happen. Why? Because you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for anything. Is an old expression, which is fitting, isn't it? He who stands for nothing will fall for anything. We got too comfortable in our lives. We filled our bellies up with and took the trappings of life to a certain extent, and just letting them carry on whatever they wanted to do. And now the thief is coming to our doors. So let's be honest, folks. Let's have an honest conversation about this. We didn't care what was going on in our communities, did we? We didn't care what was going on in our country. We left it to them, as long as it didn't bother us. Because all we were bothered about was building a nice little sum in the bank, getting a bigger house, getting a nicer car, going on nice holidays. We didn't care, did we? Come on now, be honest with yourself. Or did you? Or did you care? Did you give it a second thought? And then decided, who gives a shit? Hope I'm wrong on that. I really hope I'm wrong. Yeah, it's painful. It's painful talking about these things. But we have to wake up to a realisation of what's happening to us, to our nations. Many of us are not in a good place right now, financially, emotionally and mentally. So see, when we start thinking about other people, it all changes. And many of them are going to fall by the wayside, and it might be you. You might be one of the ones that fall by the wayside in one way or other. And your life will never be the same unless you wake up and start educating your mind. The British people are very good at moaning and groaning I don't know how it goes for you guys in the United States, our American cousins. Peace and love to you all out there, because I know what you're going through. But the British constantly whinge and moan about what's going on. About what's happening. On the media, you hear them moaning, groaning all the time. Well, that's as far as it goes. And they will continue voting for the same thing over and over again. It drives me nuts. It's a contradiction in terms, in my opinion. Should there be a collective downing of tools, or even a national strike? Who can contemplate such a thing? But it may be necessary to save society, because all they're going to do is keep on taking and taking, stealing, robbing and thieving until you're powerless. And that will even include our money to some extent, to leave us poor but conditioned into happiness. Wake up from your slumber. Prepare yourselves about what's to come. This is what you need to be, because I'm telling you now, you ain't seen nothing yet. And it's happening right before our very eyes. This isn't a joke. This isn't a conspiracy theory, and it affects just about every single one of us right now. I'm not talking about some dystopian future. It's here now, folks. And don't say you weren't warned years ago, but you just laughed and mocked at the warnings and at the signs that were coming. It's time to wake up, wipe the sleep from your eyes before it's too late. Think about your children, your grandchildren even, and their futures. What's that going to be like? I dread to think. They face a life of bleakness, with poor choices available to them, poor mental health, and having little choice in life, no security, no future. So for their sake and for your own well-being, be ready. That's all I'm asking you. Just be ready, mentally ready for the onslaught that is upon us, because that thief is right at our doors now, just waiting to take its moment to destroy your life. Oh, it sounds all very drastic. This ain't no joke though. The destruction of America and the UK has been planned for many, many years. They waited patiently until the people, the people, took their eyes off the reality, engaging to a created delusion where you didn't take life serious anymore and what was happening. You looked at the unreal world, the illusionary, temporary things of this life, which includes pleasure and fun. We all did that, didn't we? But now it's time. The globalist agenda, as most of you already know, use the mainstream media to feed and condition your mind and your heart into a collective mindset where you will accept anything and everything they decide to do. And when it all finally comes to bite you in the ass, you can't moan. And they're laughing at you because you're letting them do it. And you can't moan because you've been forewarned many, many times. I've been on the lookout for years. I'm not the first to sound out this message, and I certainly won't be the last. But as long as we have an ounce of moral strength and fibre in us, we need to stand up. Not only for yourselves, but for each other, for your families, for your communities, for your nation. And I know many of you are very afraid. Afraid of losing. You don't even know what you're afraid of losing. You're just afraid. Because fear is the key. The fear factor is what they love. This is weakness. This is how they break us down. But it shows that you forgot how to be a man or a woman with strength and power anymore. Where is your stance against tyranny? When we can't even stand up against the little scumbags in the street, we won't even say nothing to them. So how are we going to stand up against globalist organisations who are out to destroy your life and their agendas? Think about that then. And I'm not talking about a physical fight whatsoever. Knowledge is the power to defeat them. You need to be one step ahead all the way. I'm talking about being mentally, emotionally and psychologically prepared for the battle ahead, a full suit of armour. Because it ain't a physical fight what's coming upon us. This ain't no joke. It ain't no PlayStation game. This is reality. People like me have been stood on the wall watching, sounding for years. I've kept my eyes open and watched and sounded out warnings time to time. Being mocked. Because most of you don't want to hear it. And perhaps you still don't want to hear it at this moment in time. But I'm going to keep on banging on until you do wake up. You might say to yourself, who needs this shit? It's too much. It's too much to bear. Too much of a burden. Too much to contemplate. For your own future and peace and prosperity, you need to listen, folks, and consider carefully all that I've shared with you. If you want to come out the other side in one piece, we need to come out of the shadows, from hiding in the corner into the light, to be seen, to be heard, to speak out, because we're on a precipice about our society, communities and families are about to fall off a cliff. And all that will be left among our populations will be mentally tortured souls, ruined emotionally, even financially. And we will all have to deal with the consequences of a society like this, and we're dealing with it now. Mental health crisis. Are we just going to let this happen? Are we in such a childlike state of unreality, but you will let it happen so you can carry on playing your PlayStation games or whatever it is? Are you willing to let them destroy you and your life and your family and community? Or perhaps it's simpler than that. Maybe you just don't give a shit. But you will do one day and you'll regret it. That I have no doubt about whatsoever. I keep spouting off about these things because I care. I feel people's pain and emotion where there is injustice, about families, about communities, about manhood, womanhood, the future generations. This invading thief is not like a Russian army with missiles raining down on poor civilians in the Ukraine. It's an invisible invading army, subtle, sly, and they're in positions of power and authority to convince you and condition you into everything they want and purpose for society, and will convince you it's for your own good and for the planet's good. If you don't buy into it, it's good night Vienna for you and your future. They've been very successful, haven't they, into conditioning all of us, conditioning the population. We have to spend time researching, educating our minds. We spend time in pleasure, which is alright to a certain extent. You've been too busy enjoying your life, and we've left it to the few people who have put their own lives to one side to stand up and start shouting. They didn't ignore what they saw, what they witnessed going on in their society, and what they've been awakened to see. The battle for your heart and mind is raging as we speak. It's not over yet, and it's not even fully upon us. And so, while we still have a chance and still have that little ounce of humanity within you, we can defeat the thief, or the thieves even, sending them away, send them on their merry way, give them a boot up the jacksie, never to return or bother us again. Yeah, you all know something's not right. Something is happening right amongst us and around us. I've just given it to you in a nutshell. And you owe it to yourselves to find out exactly what's going on. Listen guys, thank you very much for listening to my ranting and raving. I really appreciate you taking the time to look in. I hope it wasn't too deep, I don't know what to call it. Or maybe it wasn't even deep enough, I don't know. You need people like Jordan Peterson for that. But listen, peace and love to you all in the United States and the United Kingdom. Thanks for taking the time to look in. Please subscribe and comment if you don't mind, and come back again please for more ranting and raving from the Macca on the Mac Attack.